Welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life, Series 16, day number 27. Our sketch today was created by Terry Rice. I will have her YouTube channel linked for you below. This is a great sketch, especially if you have an 8x10 photo to use with this. But if you don't, you could use 4x5 photos in its place, and or 3.5x5, and then you could mat them. But I had already mentioned, although for the most part this month I have been using photos that I have already printed, I had also mentioned that I had not printed all of my December 2016 photos. So because of that, I went ahead and I printed this photo from Christmas morning, and then some photos for the right hand side page. This one's going to be for another layout, but I don't like to waste paper, so I printed 2 photos on it. But I will when I cut these apart, I will remove that one and set it aside for another day. I am going to be using my combination of Vicki Boutin Christmas collections. This is Warm Wishes and Evergreen and Holly, and at this point I'm not sure really what came from where. I just mixed them because they go so well together. I have 2 pieces of white cardstock, and I have a couple pieces of pattern paper extras, which I think go really well with this this sketch. Plus I have some of the 6x8 papers to mat some photos, maybe fussy cut some poinsettias. These are some of the borders and some scraps and stuff. So I'm gonna pause and I will be right back. We're gonna get started. So when I looked at Terry's sketch, I thought that her top and bottom borders looked a lot like mixed media, and so I'm going to be using this Distress Oxide ink or Distress ink, and I'm going to be putting just a tad bit of mixed media using the ink smooshing technique. Now I just saved pieces of packaging from product in a little bin next to where I sit, and so I tend to have lots and lots of packaging on hand. But if you don't have any packaging, you can do the same process with one of your clear ink blocks. Just smush the ink right on top of the ink block, spray it with some water, and just flip it over. Now, one of the things that I have mentioned and said before is that if you want more control over the ink smushing, you absolutely need to use a smaller piece of packaging. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Vicki Boutin stencil here, and I have masked off what I don't want to show up on my background with some washi tape. If you are new here, I keep a little roll of washi tape on hand, washi tape that I know that I won't actually use an entire roll of for this type of purpose. I also use the washi tape to make threads stay on the back. Sometimes when I'm stitching, I have threads that get really loose. And I'm also going to tell you, when I stitch, I knot, so I don't use it on all of the loose threads because usually there's a knot, but sometimes you get some loose threads and I'll pull it in and then tuck a piece of washi tape on it. I am using, I believe, Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide for the stenciling, and I'm just going to put a real small layer right across the bottom, not all the way close to the bottom because I know that I want to still put pattern paper there. So this process is relatively fast and I'm pretty happy with that part. Now I'm going to bring in my Prima Metallic watercolor set, and apparently this is the first time I've used it since we've moved. I'm going to spray a little bit of water into the gold, and then I'm just going to use my paintbrush and I'm going to do some splatters. And I have to add water a couple of times to keep it wet because of course watercolors really soak up that water, and I just want splatters. I don't want to paint. And this is a a favorite way to get gold splatters on my layout that don't look washed out or wash away. I know that everybody likes the Heidi Swapp Shine, and I have one of those, but I just don't think it's all that great. All right, next I just put down that star vellum paper in the middle on the left-hand side. I don't think I mentioned it, but everything I'm using today as far as paper goes are scraps or from my 6x8 paper pad. Those are the only full sheets that I have left from either of these collections at this point. I have done a fairly good job of bashing these collections, and so that I'm just going to kind of continue using them as much as possible. So I got the 2 strips of pattern paper down there on the bottom. I had planned on using the full strips that I showed you at the beginning of the video, but decided to do that stenciling. And so instead of using the full strips, I just cut off a 1/2 inch from each. I had 2 strips and I cut a 1/2 inch off of the grid, and those are what I'm going to use. On the right-hand side, the photos are going to kind of stack up like this. It kind of reminds me of a partial Christmas tree. I don't know if that was intentional on Terry's part or not, but that's what I kind of saw. And again, because I've already printed all of 2016 photos, I definitely, except for my Christmas photos, I decided to go ahead and print an 8x10 from that collection, or from those photos, to use on this layout. And I chose a photo of the 3 kids sitting in front of the Christmas tree for the left side, and then there's a photo of each of us sitting in front of the tree on the right-hand side. I think Courtney is the only one in the photo that doesn't have a present in her hand, but the little unicorn slippers are a Christmas present from us to her, and that's a fun story. When we moved to Tennessee from Virginia, she had already graduated from high school, and she started going to cosmetology school while we were there and working a job, and I think it was pretty close to 20 to 30 hours per week in the beginning. And so my husband began to say that she was our unicorn. She's rare and we hardly ever see her. And it was just kind of a family joke that we did, and we still call her that to this day. I hope it doesn't bother her, but it's said in much, much love. So I'm just kind of playing around with the ephemera, moving things around, trying to decide what I want to go where. I ended up moving the Christmas tree down to the bottom and pulling my journaling labels up top. My title is not going to go where I put it. I'm going to end up moving that over by the journaling labels, and I'm going to pull the journaling labels down a little bit. And you'll see that when I come back after pausing the video to glue everything down. I'm pulling some of the little stars from the sticker sheet to put on the layout, and that's just kind of to mimic the stars on the left-hand side on that vellum. There's only 3 of them, so there's not a whole lot of them. I'm going to add some chipboard pieces for a little bit of texture. Again, I am trying desperately to use up this collection, and don't forget that I am intending to mat my small photos with the 2 sheets of 6x8 red polka dot paper, but I'll do that off camera. All right, I got this layout completely done. It was a really simple layout. I did a lot of mixed media, not a lot, but I did some mixed media and some stenciling, added my photos. I did go ahead and put the rest of this pattern paper that I used to mat these photos on the top and bottom here, so that gives the slight appearance of being matted. I had considered matting the photo, but I didn't want to cover up too much of that star vellum. As it is, it's only a partial sheet, and it's all I have left of that. I don't have any full pattern paper, 12 by 12 sheets of pattern paper from this collection left anymore, so I'm just dealing with scraps. So everything on here is scraps except for the 2 6x8 pieces of paper that I used to mat photos. And to get the 5th photo here matted, I actually had to piece together the mat on the back, and I used some washi tape to hold it together and then trimmed it down for the photo. So that's everything that's here. I did add this off camera, and I tucked this corner in underneath the circled bit. I moved my title from here over here. I really wanted to cover up most of that wall hanging there, not because I didn't like the wall hanging, just because I thought that it took away from the photo. And of course I wrote all of my journaling, and I didn't use both pieces that I had originally put down for the title, just the Merry and Bright, and just tucked in a piece of ephemera behind it and popped that up on foam adhesive. And that is actually all I put foam adhesive under, because the rest of this is actually chipboard and it already has some depth. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. Please make sure that you check that playlist below for 30 days of sketches, and also the link to Terry's YouTube channel, and leave her some love as well, because this is a great sketch. I just took it in the direction of Christmas because I'm kind of where I'm getting to for my for my 2016 albums. I'm actually running out of 2-page layouts, which was why I saved them for 30 days of sketches, because I knew I had all these wonderful sketches to work with, and so I've been saving them all year. Thank you again for being here, and I hope that you have a great week this week. Bye.